Surah 72, verse 6, that...
Is it fast dubbing or?
Yeah, you want to pass it?
Yeah, faster.
problem. And I know some people who use the jinns, and the jinns became their gods. And on the day of judgment, God will ask some of those jinns about that, and they will disown each other. I know one person who calls the jinns in, and the jinns say, "I'm Ali ibn Abi Talib." And they will ask about things, and the jinn will play around with them. They will give them information that they actually believe, and that caused their destruction.
That information is correct or wrong?
Of course it's wrong.
There may be jinn of Ali, for example.
No, it's probably not the jinn of Ali, not the companion of Ali, because Ali died too long ago. I haven't heard of a jinn that's 1400 years old. If the jinns want to play around, they can say anything they want. If the person is crazy about Elvis Presley, they will come and say, "I'm Elvis." They'll even sing. Just to fool the humans. See what can keep the kids quiet. What can we do to keep them quiet?
Okay.
No, I have a better idea of separating them. Everybody call your kids next to you. Let them sit next to you. They can hear something useful sometimes. Oh yeah. I've got my kid here. Okay. MashaAllah, it's nice and quiet this way. Yes. 159 says, God be glorified far above their claims. Only God's servants who are devoted to Him alone will be saved. Indeed, you and what you worship cannot impose anything on Him. Every one of you will burn in hell. All those people who blaspheme against God and are misled by the jinns, etc., etc. Those who are not devoted to God alone have chosen, insisted on going to hell. The angels, each one of us has a specific job. So when you look at your kid and you say, MashaAllah, there's an angel specializing in protecting that kid. When MashaAllah invokes that protection. There's a mechanism for everything. When you get up in the morning and you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La ilaha illallah, this invokes an angel that will stay with you all day and see to it that you have a nice day. (165) The angels say we are the arrangers, organizers. We have duly glorified our Lord. They used to say, had we received the correct instructions from our parents, we would have been worshippers devoted to God alone. But they disbelieved, they would find out. Victory for the messengers guaranteed. Our decision is already decreed for our servants, the messengers. They are surely the victors. Our soldiers are the winners. So disregard them for a while. Watch them, they too will watch. So they challenge our retribution. When it hits, they will be sorry. They have been warned. Disregard them for a while. Watch them, they too will watch. Glory be to your Lord, the great Lord, far above their claims. Peace be upon the messengers. Praise be to God, Lord of the universe. You notice the Quran is teaching us to make no distinction among the messengers. So God says, peace be upon the messengers. The next surah, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, Sad, and the Quran that contains the mathematical code. The message or the miracle. And it's strange, but we went through this today. So look at the references where this word is used, dhikr, and it seems to point, among other things, to the mathematical code of the Quran. Those who disbelieved have plunged into arrogance and defiance. Many a generation before them we annihilated. They called for help, but to no avail. They wondered that a warner should come to them from among them. The disbelievers said, he is a magician, a liar. Did he make the gods into one god? Oh no. How strange. This is really strange. Because every messenger came with the message, there is no God except the one God. You must forget about the saints, the prophets, the messengers as idols. Did he make the gods into one God? This is really strange. The leaders announced, go and steadfastly persevere in worshipping your gods. This is all you need. We never heard of this from the religion of our fathers. This is a lie. These are the things that we hear exactly. We never heard of this from the religion of our fathers. This is their problem. And repeatedly the Quran says when they are told follow God's revelation, they know we follow what our parents taught us. So one needs to have an open mind and a freedom. You can't follow the parents blindly. There's too much at stake. And this means perfect happiness here in this world, or terrible misery here in this world. Heaven and hell begin right here. And all we need to do is step into God's kingdom. Then you are guaranteed perfect happiness. You step into Satan's kingdom and you're guaranteed perfect misery. Even if you make millions and live in mansions and what did Christina Onassis do with all her billions? She tried to commit suicide 6 times. Finally she succeeded and went to heaven because she was really her circumstances. She was abused, oppressed, misguided, mistreated, whatever. God knows her circumstances. She died at the age of 38. But she was a very unhappy person. How about her father, who was one of the richest men in the world? And all God did was nullify the muscles in his eyelids. I mean, these are the weakest muscles in our bodies. He couldn't open his eyes. He was willing to pay $100 million to fix that. He couldn't. They had the scotch tape. They had to stick this to keep it completely open all the time. And this is suffering, because it burns. Imagine keeping your eyes open all the time. Just try it for 2 minutes. See what happens. You cannot do it. This is a simple design that we take for granted, but God designed it to clean our eyes, wipe our eyes, and scratch our eyes. Yes. But it also moistens our eyes. There's a continuous flow of liquid in there. Are we going with you? All right. Yeah, go ahead. God bless you. Come, it's your problem. Thank you, Adib. One 173 says our soldiers are the winners, by the way. Our soldiers are the winners. The believers are guaranteed victory, guaranteed. Every page of the Quran tells us that God is controlling everything. So it just takes a believer to take advantage of that. and enjoy it. There's a distinction going on between God's kingdom and Satan's kingdom. God's kingdom is characterized by perfect happiness, perfect health, perfect wealth, perfect peace of mind. Satan's kingdom is characterized by misery no matter what. It is proven over and over again that money, power, all the things that people work hard for do not guarantee happiness. All these people who have attained everything, money, mansion, power, fame, good looks, become on the front page is telling us they're unhappy. So I think this principle is very well established, that money, power, fame, good looks do not guarantee happiness at all. There's a statement in the Quran says that all happiness is in God's hand. All dignity, happiness is in God's hand. All of it. And the same expression, Al-Izzatu lillahi jami'a. Does this mean anything in Farsi? Al-Izzatu lillahi jami'a. All Izzat is in God's hand. And God decreed, made a law that He will give it only to the believers. God controls everything, withholds, gives. The more you thank me, the more I give you, God says. So what does this mean? The more we are appreciative, the more God will give us. If we turn unappreciative, we lose everything. Just make a point of thanking God every chance you get for everything you have. Excuse me. Then God will give you more.
We appreciate what God has given us, and we praise that, but in the meanwhile we say that, thank you Lord, this is from you. Is it alright, or we shouldn't
Yes.
say that?
Sure. This is how you thank God for whatever He gave you. Thank God for your health, for getting your children. How much would it pay to have for God next to you? $1 million, right? I knew of times when you were willing to pay $1 million for this. All it took was Surah Al-Hamd. Huh? Yes. God never turned us down. How's your back, Mehdi? See? We read Alhamd, yes? Behruz has been cutting furniture for the last week. He did it in Stockton and again in Tucson. So at the end of this session, inshallah, we read Al-Fatiha for him, and tomorrow he wakes up as good as new. Inshallah. Yes. Just take the back pain and throw it away from here. Inshallah. Oh, no worry, there's enough disbelievers. Yeah. Plenty of them, don't worry. Number 9 says, do they own the treasures of your Lord's mercy? He is the Almighty, the grantor. But number 8 we didn't read yet, because they question God's wisdom about choosing His messengers. Number 8, why did the message come down to Him instead of us? Indeed, they are doubtful of my message. Indeed, they have not yet tested my retribution. Do they own the treasures of your Lord's mercy? He is the Almighty, the grantor. Do they possess the kingship of the heavens and the earth and everything between them? Let them promote themselves. Instead, whatever forces they can muster, even if all their parties banded together, will be defeated. Look what's happening to communism. God gave them 40 years of communism to clean out the Trinity, and then He let them loose. Perfect plan. Open up. Hmm? Wake up, Barbara. Oh. Okay. Okay. I believe you.
What you need 40 years to come.
How many years have the East Europe been communist? Since 1945?
Yeah, that's 44 years.
Hmm?
It's 44 years.
Yeah, 44. Yeah.
But I mean, East Europe, the Soviet Union has been communist since 1917.
But even it's beginning now in the Soviet Union to break up. Did you hear?
Yeah, but the ideology
Yes.
does not break up. It's just that they are fed up with the old guys. They want to do away with the old guys.
And communism. Did you see the Romanian flag?
Yes.
Yeah. What does it look like now?
Who is now the chief of state?
He was an opponent of Ceausescu.
It's a communist.
Well, not for long. But communism is out. You know. Would you say communism succeeded?
They are still in power.
Okay.
For humans, with human standards, for all political purposes, they are still in power. They still control secret services, they still control the army, they still control the media, and they control, because the people in the streets are socialists. They want socialism to work. They are disbelievers,
I see.
and they want socialism to work.
So we have to conclude that communism is a success. A great success.
The people are still supporting socialist values. The people are still
Yes.
turning their backs to God.
I'm agreeing with you. Number 11. Instead, whatever forces they can muster will be defeated. Number 12. Disbelieving before them were the people of Noah, Ad, and the mighty Pharaoh. Also Thamud, the people of Lot, the dwellers of the woods of Midian. Those were the parties. Each of them disbelieved the messengers. Thus my retribution was inevitable. These people can expect a single blow from which they will never recover. They challenge these people. I understand to be the Arabs, and one blow I understand to be an asteroid from space. Inshallah. Number 16. They challenged our Lord. Why do you not rush the retribution for us before the day of reckoning? They challenged God. So, this is it. We usually read 2 pages and we leave the floor open for questions and discussions.
What is this dweller of the wood?
Midian. Midian. This is another name for Midian, which is now Gaza Strip. That's what Midian is.
I mean, for translation, this Gaza.
No. People of the wood.
Forest, wood.
No. What is khashab? You have khashab in Farsi? Khashab? Wood. What is wood? Huh?
Chook.
You know it. Okay, folks. There's a new word in the Farsi language. The new generation knows. Tube. Tube. So it'll be the people of the tube.
People of the tube. The wood.
But the wood here means jungle, forest.
Not necessarily, no.
What they do is they work with wood, woodworkmen,
Carpenter?
Yes.
Oh.
We do lots of carpentering.
Najjar, say carpenter.
Najjar.
Okay. So we can
Don't call Najjars. It's whatever the Arabic says. It's the people of the wood. Ashabul Aikad.
like that.
Yes. We don't have to put our own interpretation. Go ahead.
It's funny when you say they get hit by big missiles. When I was in Tunisia, I was young, I was envious of the Saudis. So they're the people who are very closest to God.
They're the farthest now.
Because of that time, forgive us that you don't have to do Ramadan. So we were envious of the other people, but find out one is worse than the other.
Exactly. You see, having this message creates a great responsibility. It's a great privilege and a great responsibility. And of course, God says that the Jews, for example, are His chosen people. It's written in the Quran a few times. So why are they suffering so much? Why did Hitler kill so many of them? Why were they scattered all over the world, persecuted and discriminated against? Because of the responsibility. They received the scripture, they didn't follow it. Now, the Arabs received the Quran, which is a lot more powerful. It is the complete message. Every page says God alone, and they abandoned it. And this is documented in the Quran, in Surah 25, that they deserted the Quran. So you can imagine that their retribution will be a lot worse. And it's inevitable.
God says in the Quran He never destroyed a land before bringing the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Could you say it the other
It's a
way
bad
around
sign.
too? When the messenger comes, after that the land will be destroyed?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, you can say that. It's the same. In Surah 17, God says, I will not send the retribution before I send the messenger. God made it a condition. So all these miracles that are showing up and the message and the messenger mean that there is a severe retribution coming to the disbelievers.
By land means what? People will hear
No, there's no land.
about the message? Nation. Nation.
No, just God left it blank. He said we do not. No, let's look at Surah 17. You can see the expression. Trying to find it. I'm getting close. Yeah. $15? Yeah, the end of 15. Says, we never punish without first sending a messenger. Because the messenger points out, gives a choice to the people, and then they have to make a decision. After making a decision, they're held responsible for it. Yes, this life, yes. Talk about this world.
Anything here?
What's the verse number?
Page 4, 24, and the page 4, after the December.
You want to read it, please? Go ahead, read it. Yeah, go ahead. So everybody can hear you.
Before. What page is that? Page 454. And I think it's the first of verse 21 and 24. And that is December. I don't know what because it is a special meaning to December.
This is an incident where David was in a sanctuary and these two people went in, snuck in. But the 99 sheep, yeah, they were fighting over one sheep. What? Actually, there's a great lesson here, but I wonder why did you pick this out?
I think before actually, once before.
You don't know what it is?
Yes.
So it's just two brothers, two brothers. One had 99 sheep, and the other had one sheep. God wants to teach us a lesson about being very careful when you judge between the people. And the fellow, they went to David to judge between them. The fellow with the one sheep said, I have one sheep and he has 99 sheep, and he wants to take mine, and he insists on it. So obviously, the one with the 99 sheep, David said, no, keep your sheep, don't give it to the fellow who has 99 of them. You have only one. So if you give him your sheep, he'll have none, and he will have 100. Keep yours. So even though this judgment is very clearly fair, David still thought maybe he did the unjust judgment, and he repented, and he was asking God for forgiveness and everything. So you can imagine how careful. This is what made David David. David is very special in the Quran. One of the preferred by God prophets. So, right. But this is David's judgment. He told the fellow with the one sheep, keep your sheep, don't give it to him. Then, even though this is a very clear and an extreme example of a good judgment, he said, maybe I did the wrong judgment. And he was repenting and asking forgiveness. And look, I mean, our presidents back home, they kill people. They don't just say, keep your one sheep and he keeps his 99. They kill people, commit murder, and they steal billions of dollars. Yes.
But this is also a question of, I don't say that he should actually give it to him as a gift. It was a question of mixing them to let them eat together, or mixing each other's property. There is a thing.
No, he wanted it. He wanted it. Maybe he wanted to buy it.
No, he won't.
That's okay. They wanted to mix, but he doesn't want to.
Yes. God is telling us that we should.
But the fellow with the one sheep didn't want to do it.
Yeah. We shouldn't mix our property.
That's not the point. Yes.
He made a judgment, and then he was.
You got it.
He made the wrong one, but he was thinking about God.
That's right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but
I
that's
mean,
the
an
point.
instant judgment, the intellectual.
Yes, he waited. Yes. This is. Yeah, he waited. He waited, and he studied, and he did everything, and then he judged. Emily got it. And that he was afraid. He was thinking of God. Did he do the right judgment? Yeah.
So what's the judgment right?
Of course. What would you do? Well,
I'm not in that situation.
well, you are now. Somebody came to you and he says, I have one sheep, and my brother has 99 sheep, and he wants to take my one sheep to his. What will you do? Will you tell him to give his sheep to the other guy?
He can give the brother the sheep, but give every month money. If it's true, if the brother, is willing to help his brother, they can make the business with the. But if he's going to
but so this fellow without a sheep, he will just sit there and do nothing. At least he has one sheep to care about. He will take it in the morning to eat, and bring it in the afternoon. It's his job.
That's right. That's it.
Yes.
My understanding when you about Surah 16, ayah 91, I think, because of when we start from the 7th page, okay, and I think it couldn't be the time of Muhammad, but I want to know that the time of Muhammad and you, but my understanding is it could be.
7 pages have to do with the end of the world.
Okay, no, but after that he says,
Do not be jealous of the others.
okay, and after, and proclaim the manifest word.
Yes.
For we will also deal with the several dividers.
Yes. To accept the Quran partially.
Okay. If it was time of Muhammad, and proclaim I am the messenger.
I didn't say it was the time of Muhammad.
Yeah, because when they accepted Quran only partly. The time of Muhammad, the
There was
Quran
no
wasn't
Quran.
complete.
But you're making an assumption that is not there. I didn't say it was at the time of Muhammad. I didn't say it was at the time of Muhammad.
It wasn't. It couldn't be.
I didn't say that. Where do you get that?
No, I said my understanding is there. I want your idea.
No, I mean, does it say in the translation that this is the time of Muhammad?
No.
So you're making the wrong assumption and then you're carrying on based on that. Which happens quite often. Sometimes we make a wrong assumption and then we build on it and we keep going on and on. So I'm stopping you before you go on and on. What is the footnote?
Okay, but I was saying, talking about 91, it couldn't be actually Muhammad. Now.
It's applicable also at the time of Muhammad.
Okay.
It's just, I'm leaving it as it is in the Quran. I see what you mean. In other words, at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, the Quran was not complete, and was not in this form. Yes. It has to be now. I see what you mean. Sorry. Your chicken kitchen English sometimes confuses us.
God, they tells us, but in 6 days He made heaven and the earth. And why didn't He tell you?
Because he will not make it until after the judgment, when all the people are called back, and then the bad ones will go to hell. So God doesn't want to do it now. He wants to do it afterwards. God created heaven. The heavens and the earth are different from heaven, which is paradise. God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. But heaven or paradise is different from heaven. You see, the English language confuses it a little bit. So there is the heavens and the earth, which were created in 7 days, and there is paradise, which some people also call heaven. And this is already in existence. But hell will not be created until after the day of judgment. On the day of judgment. Good question. MashaAllah. See, the children, they pick up things. You think they're sitting there oblivious. You think this guy's oblivious, but he's absorbing everything. Right, Hanan? MashaAllah.
On Surah 15 again, 98 says, you shall sing the praise of your Lord. Is that singing like singing?
No, it's the English expression, meaning praise God all the time.
It's not singing.
If you want to do it outside of here. Money can put up with that. Does he sing a lot? Not even in the shower?
Harun and Marun brought this
Magic.
Yeah.
Witchcraft.
But it says also that people usually use it in a bad way. Does it mean that people can use it in a good way?
No. God says it only brings harm, no good.
Either way.
Yeah, it should not be abused. I don't know, I have to think about it. But it's a statement.
Because the jinns are...
Yeah, it's using the jinns.
satanic side.
Yeah.
So it's all evil. I mean, most of their works are evil. They use.
All evil.
Somebody asked it and I said, okay. And then she said, no, go and ask it because I...
You see, if it's something good, it will be temporary.
Yeah, of
Like the
course.
psychic who tried to stop the train, remember? It worked for him for a while, but then at the crucial time, the jinn said, bye.
So it's alright in a good way.
Usually it's in the bad way. We have to stay away from the jinns, you know.
So if you see that verse that you read, you shouldn't just hear from the jinn.
Right.
And then some people
Should never have anything to do with jinns.
some people are trained about it. I think it brings them away from God. You know.
Yes, invariably, yes. Invariably it takes them away from God.
So how come the story was robbing you this jinn?
The God is the one who put them in his service. God said, I committed the jinns to serve Solomon. Not only the jinns, the birds. Who? Karim? Karim.
Can we like convert our jinn by like
You are.
so if we convert them then the jinn will
To become a good one. You're converting him right now by reading the Quran. When you read the Quran and think about it, our jinn is also reading the Quran at the same time and thinking about it. And your jinn will tell you, don't pray, don't believe this. Why go through all the trouble? This is his job. And you tell him, no, I'm going to pray 5 times a day because I want to be happy all my life. I'm going to follow this because this guarantees me victory and happiness. And he tells you, oh, forget it, this is all nonsense. So you continue to debate like this until you convert him, inshallah. Then you become friends. Become identical.
So exactly my question was this one. When I'm here, because there's too much power here, I believe everything when going up. Of course I'm not going to spread myself there, but I'm going for example. On the outside, the jinn is going to push me.
Yes, the jinn will whisper
So
to you.
still I'm a believer, okay?
Yes.
The challenge between me and the jinn. Especially
Right.
for the early morning when I'm tired. Okay, let me sleep, okay? When
The jinn is telling you to sleep.
Yeah. So still, my question is...
Yeah, this is all of us. Our jinn is always telling us to not to worship God alone.
So it means all the time, as long as I'm alive, I have challenge between me and...
No. There will be a time when, like Karim said, there will be a time when he's completely converted. As a matter of fact, he can be ahead of you. Tomorrow, you're going to be here for the khutbah, Friday prayer?
Me?
Yes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So you're going to hear an example of a jinn that is cooperating with you.
when our jinn is a real Muslim, then after that is that possible that our jinn guide us
Yes. Sometimes the jinn will be ahead of you. And the Quran, we were reading yesterday or the day before yesterday, how God matches your companion, matches the companion, the jinn and the human companions are matched. So if you're destined to believe, God matches a believing jinn with you, who is also destined to believe. A person who is destined to disbelieve, God will match a disbelieving companion, which makes sense.
What about astrology? Do they make a lot of people jinns in that?
No, this is simply observations. They notice that if the sun is in the zodiac and another zodiac, this and that, so something happens on earth. They notice that the people who are born under a certain sign have certain characteristics. So they made notes and they compiled them and computerized them. Then if you tell me that you're a Libra, I can tell you what your characteristics are. You're more susceptible to colds and things like that. Just observations. It's a compilation, but it's very. It has a long way to go.
One doesn't have to choose him. He has to use jinn and ghost the same.
No. Jinn, we cannot see the jinn, but I guess some manifestations in the jinn people will think they're ghosts.
Because if the jinn is the children of Satan, and they, in the first life, they totally agree with Satan. How different is the human and the jinn? The sense is the same, they do.
God gives the jinns a longer life and more ability to fly in the universe and study God's signs. But the humans are given 7172. Read it. 7172 again.
They have that much ability to go to all the universe, so you have to be more believer than the people.
No, because they already made up their mind very strongly that Satan is right. See, here God gathered the children of Adam, not the children of Satan, not the jinn.
Exactly. Because the Satan knows God is believer.
Right.
Different heavens.
Not really, no. It's just that there's a different allegorical heaven for them. Because, how do I, let us say, compare you with a tree. You and the tree. So think of yourself as two creatures. And I'm saying I'm going to put you and the tree, I'm going to put you both in heaven. I'm going to give you steak. I'm going to give you potatoes and rice and fruit. Do you think the tree will go for that? Okay. Do you understand what I said?
Yes, yeah, they put better living life.
No, you are a creature and the tree is a creature.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I'm going to put you both in heaven where you can eat steak every day.
No.
No what?
Yes, because the tree doesn't like the steak.
Right. So the humans and the jinns are two different creatures. And God is telling us, I'm going to put you in gardens with grapes and pomegranates and fruit. The jinns don't care about that. So God is telling them that you're going to have your own heaven, which was different things.
But actually it's going to be the same heaven.
Yes, actually going to be the same heaven.
Are your plant souls the same as ours?
Mm-hmm. 55-6. MashaAllah, she likes it first.
The stars and the trees just six.
Yes.
Just the sky.
No, just 6. They're creatures. Well, it's my sleeping time, brothers and sisters, so I'm going to retire and see you in the morning, inshallah. I got up at what time?
This morning?
Yeah.
4:30. You
One.
was about 10 after 2.
No, it was 1 o'clock.
Are you working?
Yeah. Well, I left home at 1, so I got here about 20 after 1. So this is why, don't laugh at me when I say it's my sleeping time. The chicken sleeping time. Isha, you want to get yourself a coffee?
Surah Tawbah.
If something good happens to you, they hurt. And if an affliction befalls you, they say, we told you so, as they turn away rejoicing. These are all descriptions of the hypocrites. Say, nothing happens, whether we are submitters or objectors. So God is telling us in 51, say nothing happens to us except what God has decreed for us. And we have to accept it or object to it. The submitter accepts whatever happens cheerfully. Underline cheerfully, 19 lines. Under cheerfully. In God the believer shall trust. In other words, if you're a believer, you must trust that God will take care of you. God guarantees it for you. And if something appears to be bad, you must know there's some good reason for it. 52. Say, you can only expect for us one of two good things in war, victory or martyrdom. Why do we expect for you condemnation from God and retribution from Him at our hands or at our hands? Therefore wait, and we will wait along with you. Say, spend willingly or unwillingly, nothing will be accepted from you, for you are evil people. Rejectors of God's messenger observed the Salat prayers. What prevented the acceptance of their spending is that they disbelieved in God and His messenger, and when they observed the contact prayers, Salat, they observed them lazily, and when they gave to charity, they did so grudgingly. This is an important verse you should remember. It's 954, remember it. When the people tell you that they think that life began with Muhammad, they think there was no Salat before the Prophet Muhammad. You tell them, remind them of this verse. These are people who rejected the Prophet. They disbelieved in God, but they were doing the 5 contact prayers. The word Salat is very specific, because Salat existed before the Prophet. Just at the time, they had been corrupted by idol worship. Exactly. Same thing today. 954. This is another proof that the contact prayers Salat existed before the Quran.
They will get a justification that they will say this was one of the last chapters that was revealed.
Yes, this is a good point, because this verse was revealed probably less than a year before the Prophet's death. And this is my chance to give Karivash a public apology Surah, because I misunderstood her question yesterday. She was saying that the verses at the end of Surah 15 about people who accept the Quran partially could not possibly be applicable to the time of the Prophet, because the Quran itself was being revealed. It was not in existence really. Even when the Prophet died, he left the Quran in the chronological sequence with instructions on the side. It was not organized at all into a Quran. Now we have the Quran. This is the Quran, the format that God wants, and did not exist until 20 years after the Prophet's death. He tried to put it together.
Yeah, excuse me, and I thought this only one verse is very, very strong.
Yes.
Just proclaim. To whom proclaim the if messenger before proclaimed that I am messenger, and after that, before.
وقل إني أنا النذير المبين. Say I am the.
Just one verse is enough to know that after Muhammad is messenger coming.
Inshallah. Yeah, I misunderstood the question. 196 at the top, 55 says, do not be impressed by their money or their children. God turns these into means of retribution for them in this life, and their souls depart while they are disbelievers. This is a common thing that you may come across. Hey, look at those people, they are not believers, but they are happy and rich and this and that. But they're not happy. You have to take that word out, because God says He would cause the money and the children to be the source of misery for them. Then after all this misery, they leave the world as disbelievers. 56. They swear by God that they belong with you while they do not belong with you. They are divisive people. They will create division. They will create confusion, because the statements that come out of their mouths reflect disbelief. If they could find any refuge or caves or a hiding place, they would go to it rushing. Some of them criticize your distribution of the charities. If they are given therefrom, they become satisfied. But if they are not given therefrom, they become objective. They should be satisfied with what God and His Messenger have given them. They should have said, God suffices us. God will provide for us from His bounties through His Messenger. We are seeking only God. And here's a distribution system for charities other than zakat. It also applies to zakat. Charities shall go to the poor. So in zakat it says your parents first. They have to be poor. If they are not poor, then you go to the next line, which is relatives, cousins, aunts, nephews, nieces, uncles. 60. Charities shall go to the poor, the needy, the workers who collect them, the new converts, to free the slaves, to those burdened by sudden expenses, in the cause of God, and to the traveling alien. Such is God's commandment. God is omniscient, most wise. Some of them heard the Prophet by saying he is all ears. Say, it is better for you that he listens to you. He believes in God and trusts the believers. He is a mercy for those among you who believe. Those who hurt God's messenger have incurred a painful retribution. 62. They swear by God to you to please you, when God and His messenger are more worthy of pleasing if they are really believers. Retribution for opposing God and His messenger. 63. Did they not know that anyone who opposes God and His messenger has incurred the fire of hell forever? This is the worst humiliation. The hypocrites worry that a surah may be revealed exposing what is inside their hearts. Say, go ahead and mock. God will bring out what you are worried about. If you ask them, they would say, we were only joking and playing. Say, do you realize that you are mocking God and His revelations and His messenger? Do not apologize. You have disbelieved after having believed. If we pardon some of you, we will punish others among you as a consequence of their transgressions. The hypocrite men and the hypocrite women belong with each other. They advocate evil and prohibit righteousness, and they are stingy. They forgot God, so He forgot them. The hypocrites are truly wicked. God promises the hypocrite men and the hypocrite women, as well as the disbelievers, the fire of hell. They abide therein forever. It suffices them. God has condemned them. They have incurred an unending retribution. So here we read 4 pages, most of them about the hypocrites, because they sit with us and we look on them as believers, and then they talk to some of us and people listen to them. And what comes out will cause doubt in the hearts of the believers. But God reserves the lowest pit of hell for them because of this. They look like believers, act like believers. So we have to be aware as we grow. Just because we're all here in the same room doesn't mean you have to be careful to what to listen. This is a test for all of us.
Because there are more dangerous tests.
Exactly. Yeah. You could be very, very loving, friendly people, and they're with us, and then they stab you. Yes. In fact, we have many examples of this. So people who were with us and very strong, and who became very close and very friendly, but now we know they are not believers. Because things are happening progressively, and there's a drop-out point for some people. So even though they believe, when the messenger ship point came, for example, they couldn't take it. But they continue to come with us and come to the meeting. You know a few of those, huh? Okay, we'll have 5 minutes of discussion.
And then the class starts with the
Kerem.
immediate relatives, parents, the charity, the non-class.
No, charity is something that's on the spot. Earthquake comes and destroys San Francisco, and the people in the street hungry, and you don't even know their names. You help them.
That one is unlimited.
Right. Of course, it's limited by your means and by not being too extravagant. Yeah. Go ahead.
If you have a cousin or something like that, that's poor and but very disbelieving, arrogant, all that, and then there's an orphan that is believing and needs it even more. You still give it to the cousin, your brother?
Yes, give the zakat to the relative first. Unless he's fighting you. If he's just disbelieving, he has made a decision, he doesn't know, but he's not fighting you actively, then you have to give the zakat to the relative first. So God said, yeah. Because your cousin, who is not fighting you, maybe next week he'll read the Quran, discover God, and become better than you and me. Right? And maybe when you help him, this will cause him to believe. Say, wow, this is a good system. Those believers are charitable. So God tells us to consider them potential believers.
Charity begins at home.
That's it.
The people who, like, I think everybody is going to get a message.
Inshallah.
But when our duty, according to, like, that we know the person gets the message and we refuse it. And but we didn't give it to him. But you know, we get it from somebody else. It's still our duty to go again or to not to go.
He got the message from another source?
Yeah, from another believer. But they refuse.
Oh, I see. Well, if the circumstances come up, we're supposed to give the message anyway. When the circumstances come up. God will create the circumstances for us to deliver the message. But we must strive. We need to strive. We need to do something. You know, as it is, the majority of people believe in God alone, worship the Quran alone, they worship God alone, and that's it. They're believers. And they're good. They're going to heaven. But they are not the same as people who strive, who are just aflame. Hey, look who's here! The Turners are here. Yeah. Come on in, come on in. MashaAllah. You left your Umniya home. Another? Alaikum salam. She's asleep here in Tucson? Oh, okay. I know how it is. MashaAllah.
Joshua, I have a question. If, for example, my sister asked me for little
Loan.
okay, and she's very believer and I trust her, but if I commit sin if I don't have a
written down? If in your mind you don't care if she keeps the money and you never get it back, then it's okay. But if you want it to be repaid, God tells us to write it down so you don't forget how much you gave her and she doesn't forget how much you borrowed.
But if she doesn't care,
But if you don't care, if she ever pays it, then it's okay. This you write it down if you expect it to be paid back, because I'm telling you, you'll forget. you may give her $500, and then after a month, you will be absolutely positive that you give her 1,000. Sometimes Satan will see to it. Well, the person who's giving the loan is in control. So it is the person, right? But the person who's taking the loan is the one who dictates the terms, who writes down the receipt. I received $500 from Roxana, and I promised to pay it at $50 a month starting in February, and finish the payment at certain date. So this is, God gives us the details as to what to write, because it'll be written in the hand of the borrower, and then you have two witnesses. This way there'll be no confusion at all. SubhanAllah. When this came down in an age where there were no accountants.
This 958, that some of them criticize your distribution of charity, but when they receive themselves, they become satisfied. This we have seen in Sweden, for instance, people who object to the taxes, but then they try to get out as much as possible from the public sector, so the taxes just go up and up and up.
Yeah, this is true in all countries, it seems. Here also. No, but this is a specific situation talking about the community of believers, and we've seen it also within the community of believers. We are living the Quran. So what is your first question, Naima?
How much you talked about the message?
As much as you can. Yeah, we were talking about believers who believe in God, the hereafter, follow the Quran alone and worship God alone, but that's the extent of it. They're good people, they're going to heaven, but they're not at the same rank as far as God is concerned, like the people who strive.
But when they start to be like angry, it's fun to
Strive.
let them feel you alone.
Yeah, right. You have to see your own circumstances and how it is working. But the God says, لا يستوي المجاهدون بأموالهم وأنفسهم والقاعدون. فضل الله المجاهدين بأموالهم وأنفسهم على القاعدين درجة. God raises strivers. So I don't push. I let it. Comes from the people themselves.
But if they start to really question you, here you are in the meeting and they're questioning you, oh, this is the meaning, this is about when they get angry.
Yeah.
Then forget about this.
Yeah, you want to see to it that the message is delivered in the best possible and the most effective manner. This all depends on the circumstances. Again, ادعو لسبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. Invite to the path of God with wisdom and great diplomacy. You want to do it so you don't chase them away, and you don't keep the door open. If they are not going to believe now, you keep the door open for them. So you're right. Yeah. MashaAllah. Was it good? Good. Alhamdulillah.
Yes. When you give the message for quite a while to somebody different way, and he always fights, that is normal between them. When they ask us a favor or ask us something, we tell them, this favor.
Forget it. Yeah.
Yes. That happened to a gentleman who do business with him, and I sent him all the documentation, and he fights it.
Yeah.
And he asked me to sponsor him to immigrate to Canada.
Nope.
And I'm sorry, I cannot do that.
Very good. Yeah. But there is a point of where God asks us to give up on them. There's a question in Surah 13 says, is it not time for the believers to give up on the disbelievers and realize that God guides whomever He wills? Usually they catch it like that, Rajal, don't they? If somebody's going to believe, they catch it, they see it. You can tell if they're blind and deaf, or if there's this concrete wall around them, or if they're wide open to the message. I don't know. I think it's been rare to see somebody who is completely blocked and then all of a sudden they could see. Well, Lisa and Susan, go to work. You can go through this door. I think very much finished cooking, so you can have some breakfast. You gonna go help them? Yeah. Show them what they have for breakfast. There's some rice. You gonna bring the cake now? I'm not. I know. When? Now? Yeah? Good time. Good time. Okay. Wait. Stay where you are. Stay. Just 1 minute. Lisa and Susan have to go to work soon, so just wait a minute.
And the comedian just
Hurry up. Is it the same tape?
Yeah, that's...
Recording over and over?
No, it's another more tape.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. God alone. Verse 11 says, say, I have been commanded to worship God, devoting the religion absolutely to Him alone. And I was commanded to be the utmost submitter. Say, I fear if I disobeyed my Lord, the retribution of a great day. Say, God is the only one I worship, devoting my religion absolutely to Him alone. These are all commandments from God to you. I'm going to read them again, starting at 11. God is telling you to say, I have been commanded to worship God, devoting the religion absolutely to Him alone. So there is no room for Jesus or Moses or Muhammad or the saints. Huh? Yes. And I was commanded to be the utmost submitter. The utmost submitter never complains. That's a sign of submitter or not. The utmost submitter is content with whatever God gives us and understands. 13. Say, I fear if I disobeyed my Lord, the retribution of a great day. Submitters also realize that everything has a price. And this is now after passing all the tests and you've passed your final test, you're in good shape, then you cannot deviate outside the path that God drew for you. Because if you deviate, it's very expensive. It seems out of proportion, but really it is not. You know, when I got pinched in the past, I say, wow, this is too much. I didn't do that bad. And the answer was come back, yes. This is it. You didn't do too bad, but this is the price for it. You know, the pinch is always way out of proportion. It seems. I guess because we somehow we grow up with the notion that God is forgiving, merciful, which is true, but we tend to abuse this. It's funny. God wants to make you perfect. And the system that I have noticed personally, and maybe you too, is that God will take one of your defects at a time. And He will keep after you until you get rid of that defect. Then He will start another one until you cleanse out of that one. The end result is a perfect human being. There is such a thing. You'll be following God's commandments perfectly, and you'll be a perfect human being. So the utmost submitter understands all these things. Remember that the utmost submitter has a perfect life. The only reason you have a headache is because something you have done. And don't think there are any exceptions to that. There are no exceptions. You don't get a scratch or a headache without something you have done. So it behooves you to find out what it is that you have done. Don't defend yourself either. I used to laugh when I tell some people, what did you do wrong? I say, I didn't do anything wrong. You know, you become on the defensive. I say, hey, wait a minute, you're supposed to join me and in attacking your quote-unquote self and find out what you did wrong. You become very defensive. But we're supposed to do this ourselves. We have to find out what did I do wrong. But if I'm too egotistic to pinpoint what I did wrong, then I just go on, because the punishment will continue until you know what it is. When you know what it is and you repent, it never happens again. The problem is solved. So an utmost submitter means no problems of any kind. It's almost unbelievable. But you see, God taught us repeatedly. God used me as a guinea pig, a happy guinea pig. I mean, I put myself in situations where a problem should have happened, but it wasn't the cause of God, so a problem didn't happen. And the reason I'm saying this is because Ihsan is sitting here, and she expected a big problem. Thank you. I was busy with this translation, and I slept here 3 nights in a row. I didn't go home for 3 days. And then the answering machine, the telephone rang, the answering machine came on, my wife was on the phone. This is Stephanie. So Hassan started to run away. And she said, this is it, she's going to divorce you, you're finished. This is it, it's a big fight. So as she was approaching this door here to run away, she heard her say, I made a batch of Italian cookies that they were so delicious, I'm sorry we finished all of them, so I'm going to make you another batch. She couldn't believe it. Until now she can't believe it. So, but this is, God manipulates the minds and the hearts of the people. In fact, this happened again when 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah? A few days ago, when this visit, I slept here 2 nights in a row, and she called. What did she say this time? What did she want? No, say it again. What did?
Chat.
I want to chat. I forget what she wanted, but it was peaceful. She was also running away. Oh yes. She said, I'm the happiest person in the world. I said, what? Now I was insulted. Hey, wait a minute. Honest, this is what she said. Yes, I remember now. She said, I'm the happiest person in the world. I said, what happened? She said, I found the car I've been looking for a long time. I'm like a baby. I'm like a child who found a toy. This is exactly what she said. She's been looking for a car. Yeah. So, this is a situation that warrants a problem, right? With most people. Where have you been? You're a half hour late. If you left your office at 2:30, you should have been here at 3 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock now. So what I'm saying is that God's mercy and grace allowed us to learn from experience. We really have a track record, and it is Adib still not comfortable with my statements because he has to go through what I went through. When I make a blanket statement, a believer has a perfect life, no problems, no headache, no traffic tickets. He always tells me, what if we grow and we have a lot of people and problems happen? They don't happen. God can handle them. God's law is absolute. Let me just read it with you again, because I wanted to pass this on to the people. Let's look at 1062 or 1162. What is it? Page 216. I think Adif will appreciate that because the Arabic is so powerful and he knows it. He knows the Arabic. The top of page 216 says, absolutely, God's allies have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. In Arabic, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Very strong Arabic says, absolutely. I try to bring it in the English as close as possible. God's allies have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. The next verse identifies who are they. They are those who believe and lead a righteous life. That's it. If you believe and lead a righteous life, you have nothing to fear, nor will you grieve. Why are you picking through the? Why are you picking through the crack? Come on in.
Is it okay?
Okay, what?
I have the kids over at the museum and I just wanted to come by to pray.
Sure. That's fantastic. Number 64 says, for them, joy in this world. We don't have to die first before we enjoy heaven. It happens here. For them, joy in this world and the hereafter. This is God's unchangeable decree. Such is the greatest triumph. So this is it. God's law. You have to realize that there is an admission test, and the admission test is very exacting. It's very exacting. It's usually in the first 5 years after you claim that you come to worship God alone. Doesn't mean it will last 5 years. Don't be scared. It comes within. If you're proven to be a total submitter completely in the first month, then it is over. But you must realize it happens, and all the while you're in God's hand. The test is very tough. Where is Mahmoud? Did you leave? Yeah, he's going to take his carburetor. Mahmoud is undergoing a test like this. He temporarily lost his wife, his kid, his cars, his computer, and he's very cheerful, as you see. It's all temporary. And everything will be restored and twice as much. He knows that. He's a good believer. And we know that. But what I want to say is that when you have a problem, you must understand the root of the problem. What is it? Why am I having this problem? So, if you're not in the admission test, then you did something wrong. The admission test simply, you say that you're going to worship God alone, and Satan says otherwise. So no, Hiruz doesn't mean it. He's just saying that, and God tells him, okay, you can go and beat him up, but within the limit. You cannot do this and this to him. So Satan starts on Behruz, beats him up, gives him backache, a few other problems. But it doesn't face Behruz. He continues to worship God alone. Then he's proven to be worshiping God alone. Then all the blessings open up. Just watch.
I also got this cold and fever.
Pardon?
I also have a cold and fever and all. I must be careful.
You have cold and fever now? Oh, well, this is part of the fun of traveling, you know. The only thing wrong I can think of that you did, maybe feeling sympathy for the people who, out of ignorance, were idolizing Muhammad and Ibrahim and so on. Which
I
is...
feel that they're not idolizing, maybe they haven't understood it.
Yes.
Saying that they worship God.
Go on, please.
Yes.
Saying that, I feel sorry.
Yeah.
Reach out to them.
Well, their judgment is in God's hand, but I don't think... I think your cold and fever will go away as soon as you're convinced that that was wrong to do that. Just a little pinch of a reminder from God to us to make everything right. But this is a common, by the way, this is a common thing that I went through, everybody goes through, that we feel for our grandparents and so on. They were all nice people, we loved them very much. And our wishful thinking tells us maybe they didn't know, or their intention were good. So,
Like we have come to know because you have come in our time. They didn't have you in their time, perhaps they would have believed.
No, but see, they had the Quran, they had the message there.
Yeah,
Okay, Lisa, you better get going. Yeah.
We believe after you explained, we didn't believe from the Quran. We believed after you
Yes.
explained. We were believing in one God.
Yeah, but you see, if they deserved better, God would have seen to it that they received the correction.
Because exactly this line my father would say, like, with a true believer nothing can harm him, and God will give him heaven in this world, and for enjoying life, and
Yes.
there's no time we are happier person. I always And he would fall in sajda, with dogs or when he finds something.
Yes, mashallah.
Wherever he was remind.
This,
So
yeah,
I get little bit,
yeah, but this is fine, but you cannot generalize it to the population. If you know a person personally and you see very well that he is worthy of heaven, he probably did go to heaven. Probably God understood his situation. I'm sure, not probably, I'm sure God understood the situation. But we cannot generalize this, and we cannot sympathize with that for our own good. Because if I say maybe these people have good intentions and we defend them, Satan will capitalize on that. So you see, he or she is defending the idol worshippers.
I got a terrible headache yesterday because I was questioning the Quran about the
yes,
first
cousin. I'm glad you knew that. Yeah. This is a good example actually, and 99.9% this is exactly the connection.
Then I started to
Yes, and it's wonderful to know that, because you probably never again question the wisdom of the Quran.
I didn't mean to, but the way I sounded, I probably...
Yes, exactly. It is the way it sounds. See, Mrs. Amir Ali was perfectly innocent when she's talking about those past generations, but Satan will take that innocent statement and will make a big mountain out of it. He will actually say she's defending the idol worshippers, and there is a law in the Quran that you do not defend idol worshippers, even if they were your parents, and so on. Remember, he's a liar. Satan is a liar, and if we don't word our statements carefully, especially when we're touching on the issue of idol worship, he will take that and will capitalize. If I say the slightest thing in defense away from God, so this is why I don't compromise. When they ask me about white lies and little insurance and things, I don't compromise, because if I say anything that is a little, just slightly away from God's law, Satan will capitalize on it. And say, see, he doesn't follow your law. Then I'll get smashed on the head. Because God invariably calls Satan's excuses when he says, okay, go test him. Because God puts limits on him. When he sends him to test you, he puts limits on you. He said you can give her a cold and fever, but that's about it. You cannot give her a headache, for example. We need to understand this mechanism. We believe in God. God told us there is Satan, and we need to understand what does Satan do. We read the other day, some of you were here, some were not, that Satan will come from your right, your left, from your right, left, front and back. He will come to you from every direction, and he will exactly catch those sentences that may be misunderstood to mean that you're defending the idol worshippers or deviating from God's law. And he'll say, this person, he will lie. But he will use your words. So we don't want to give him a chance to do that. Like Roxana said, she didn't mean to question God's wisdom. She was just discussing the thing intellectually. But it sounded like, if I didn't know her, I would think she's questioning God's wisdom. Why didn't God prohibit first cousin? Why are the Christians wiser than God, for example, in prohibiting first cousin marriages? Satan will do that. Satan will say, Roxana means that you're not as wise as the Christians. So who would...
I think it takes a while before realizing that
Yes.
every letter of the Quran has to be followed, otherwise you make a mistake.
Yes, exactly. Takes a while. Yes. Takes a while. Where is Martha? Martha. Oh. No jumping, honey. Sit down. Sit down. Don't jump. Shut the door. Oh, are you there? Oh, you're praying? Okay. I just want to keep the kids under control because they're jumping now.
We're off. Thank you.
Mrs. Amir Ali is not supposed to have a headache or cold or flu or anything like that. I think also we have to realize the limitations of our bodies, I guess. No, I don't want to compromise with that.
Well, my problem.
I just remember.
My back problem is my gin. I knew that I'm not supposed to pick up everything.
Yes.
But surprisingly, in 4 days I didn't have any pain. And all of a sudden.
This part of the test, you took Mehdi's.
Yes. And this time it was
You love him so much that you said, I'm going to take you back here.
I don't know who's going to love me this
Because
time.
it's his anniversary. God will love you and will remove it. God loves you and will remove it, inshallah. The reason I said I stopped in the middle of the sentence, we have to realize the limitations of our bodies. We're going to say Alhamdulillah, MashaAllah, Subhanallah, and all this because you can brag when you say that. If you give God the credit, you can brag about it. Brother Abdul Hayy was here and he came and looked at my computer, my chair, and he said, you're supposed to have a terrible backache because I'm sitting at the computer an average 10 hours a day. He said, this computer is too high or too low, the chair is this and that. He said, do you have back problems? I said, no. So he said, you're supposed to. But so this is what I mean by even the body limitations, God will heal you somehow. You're in your admission test, so don't complain. Yeah, you're not complaining. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, when Satan decays the sentences that you say,
Right.
he turns their knives and tools to get against you.
MashaAllah.
Does he use the sentences that you say in your mind? Like sometimes you
No.
say things.
No, he doesn't know what's in your mind.
Also, only what you say orally?
Right. Satan and even the angels do not know what's in your mind. Yeah. But, there's a big but. God knows what's in your mind. You see this at the end of Surah 2. God is the only one who knows what's in your innermost thoughts.
Okay.
Not only He knows what's in your mind, He knows what's in your mind 10 years from now. That's in Surah 20. God knows He knows what is more secret than the secret. So what's more secret than the secret? It's the future secret. So, yeah. So Satan doesn't know your what's in your mind, but God does. So and God says, do not have anything wrong inside your mind. Go ahead.
When evil thoughts come into your mind, then Satan doesn't put them there.
Your companion does. Yes. Your companion is in there. And your companion put those thoughts, and it is your job to sift through them. And if it's, in fact, remember the verse that says, the believers, when a whisper from the devil comes to them, they seek refuge in God. Okay. Your companion is your devil. And it's your job to counter those bad thoughts. He will ask you to do all kinds of bad things, to lie, cheat, lose your temper. Does this mean Batu loses her temper? No, no way. Don't look at her like that. Are you telling me that Princess Batul loses her temper? No. With 2 kids like that?
The companion is not in touch with the Satan.
No. He is Satan. He represents Satan. He already has his built-in natural instinct to tell you not to pray, not to worship God alone, not to be honest, etc., etc. It's already, that's his nature.
So Satan is not in touch with them.
That's his seed. That's his seed. And it's inside your brain. So this is the only access he has to your brain. But it's your job and my job to convert this seed of Satan into a God-worshipping jinn.
So it's about your practices and studying the Quran and living the righteous life that converts that.
See, he's reading the Quran now. As you're reading, she is reading the Quran now. Excuse me. Yeah. As you read the Quran, she too is reading the Quran. And she's thinking about it.
You convinced her, and hey,
yes.
Now you are together. You are reading the Quran.
She tried her best to keep you from doing this. But you won, and you brought her